ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. ancientdefense.com. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new INFOWARSLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients, extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules. You will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at INFOWARSLife.com. That's INFOWARSLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Well, in the last segment, we were talking about how Obama and the federal bureaucracy are expanding like a cancer. And of course, they always do it by finding some kind of a seminal moment, some kind of an emergency, some felt need. They push on people's fear, just as this whole thing we see with the FCC moving to take over control of the internet with 3 politically appointed commissioners going to control the entire internet. How did that start? That started with a reaction to the Titanic sinking and people saying we need to have better communications. We see the same thing happening with the FAA. They've even planted a little drone on the White House lawn to show people that things are very serious, or they highlight the incidents of somebody flying a drone at a very high elevation so that it might collide with a plane. But they seize on these incidents and then go way beyond any authority that they have under the Constitution. And then once they establish their authority, they will continue to move the barriers. That's what the founders understood, especially about the Second Amendment. They said, make no law restricting freedom of religion or speech, but they knew that the way they would come after the Second Amendment would not be with a blanket law prohibiting everything. No, they would come little by little. They would take that fence that keeps them out and they would move it a couple of inches in and keep infringing, just as your neighbor would move the fence on. If you let it stand, it becomes his property. The way Obama is doing this now is coming after ammunition. He says that he's going to ban bullets, and he's working with, guess what? A federal bureaucracy to write laws that Congress will not write, to ban bullets by executive action. So he's going to, as promised in the article we have on INFOWARS.com, it says Obama is now using executive actions to impose gun control on the nation, because that's precisely what he's doing when he comes after the ammunition. Now, in another article that we have today, Kit Daniels points out that AR-15 ammo is not armor-piercing. That's their excuse. They say these are cop-killing bullets. We have to remove these because they're armor-piercing. Not according to the law. The ATF, nevertheless, is going to ban it anyway because they don't read the regulations. They don't read the Constitution. The broad regulation of the Constitution is something they're not concerned with, so they're not going to read the fine points. But here's what the fine point says, just so you know how they're violating the law. He says the ATF is trying to ban M855 AR-15 ammunition by declaring it armor-piercing despite the ammo containing lead, which exempts it from the classification according to the law. And he quotes the law here, and he says, to be considered armor-piercing, a bullet must have an entirely metal core or have a jacket weighing more than 25% of its weight which wouldn't include the M855 rounds because their bullets are partly lead. There you go. Doesn't even qualify under their own regulations, but they don't care what their regulations say. The law is in their mouth, just as it is in Obama's. Obama can't violate the law because he is the law. Whatever he says is the law. And we see this attitude from the president down to the cop on the street. Take a look at this cop confronting an open carry activist who is not even violating any presumed state laws.
Then the officer clearly, and you can hear it plain as day, the officer says, you're not under arrest and you're not being detained.
I do not consent to questioning and I do not have ID.
You can try all you want with your constitutional bull, all right? Dude, look, you can try this constitutional crap all you want, but I got news for you, okay? I'm part of that 3% that you're trying to represent.
Here's the bottom line. If you respect the contents of a document, you don't refer to those contents as crap and bull.
So do you think anything's going to happen to that officer who says that the Constitution he swore to is total BS and acts as if he feels that way? He made another interesting statement in that. He said, if you don't show me your ID, how do I know that you're not a felon? If you violate the Constitution, how do I know that you're a law officer? That's another question we could ask him. We're very concerned about the violations that we see coming against the First Amendment because the FCC has in the past regulated speech content. And they currently regulate a lot of things that should fall under protected political speech. They currently do that. So we know they're going to use this as censorship. We know they're going to regulate speech. We know that Obama is trying to infringe on the right of the people to keep and bear arms. It isn't about having a rifle on the wall, it's about being able to use it. Of course, they can take that away if they can take away your ammunition. But we should be very concerned even about the rights that are protected under the 9th Amendment. Remember, the 9th Amendment says that the enumeration in the Constitution, we've specifically put in things about free speech, freedom of religion, the right to keep and bear arms. Even if we didn't put these rights that we possess from God, even if we didn't put them in explicitly, that means that those certain rights that we still possess shall not be construed to deny or disparage others that are retained by the people. So we delegate those to the government. Now, one of those, of course, is informed consent. Standing in opposition to medical dictates from the government. And we see many state issues in both Oregon and California and other places on the East Coast where they're saying, we're going to remove the personal belief exemption and we're going to mandate vaccines. Now, understand when they use that terminology, they're talking about informed consent. They're saying, this is your personal belief. This is your faith. It's not based on any facts or any science. No, actually, it is. We have some real reasons to be concerned about that. And they say, we're going to not give you an exemption from our orders. They don't have a right to order us in the first place. This is the way it plays down in Oregon. This is a lawyer, his name is Robert Snee, challenging the state senator, Senator Elizabeth Steiner Hayward, MD, on her Oregon bill SB 422, which would remove personal exemption.
Interestingly enough, in an article that was published in the American Academy of Family Physicians, the sponsor of this bill is quoted as disregarding her treating doctor's advice because, in the paraphrase, I did the research and disagreed with her recommendation. She chose to breastfeed her child despite the medication that she was taking for her condition and despite the risk to her child from that medication. There was a greater certainty of...
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I have to interrupt.
Yes, please.
My integrity has just been impugned by the witness. And I want to be really clear here, sir.
I'm not...
No, sir. Please allow me to respond.
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My doctor at that time was responding, in fact, to drug company paranoia because they'd never tested it in pregnant and breastfeeding women. I called the national expert on drugs and lactation from the University of Texas and asked him personally to clarify that interferons did not transfer from breast milk, from the mother's tissue into breast milk before I made that decision for my child. And I also was well aware that breastfeeding is the best thing you can do to protect children from autoimmune diseases. So I would be very grateful if you did not take my decision, my personal decision about my medical care out of context. Thank you.
All right, please. Remember,
Mine was science-based.
we do not. All right. I will have to ask people to leave if we don't have decorum. We do not impugn others. All right?
My statement was not intended in any manner of impugning or maligning the sponsor of this bill, only pointing out that her right to exercise her informed consent and make a different decision than her treating doctor is the same right that we as citizens are seeking for ourselves.
As the title to the article says, Medical Tyranny in Action in Oregon, a doctor and senator wants medical freedom for herself but not Oregon citizens. Do you understand how this plays out? Of course, she was being treated for MS. She was being given interferon. Her doctor said, do not breastfeed your child. The pharmaceutical companies said, do not do this. But she did some research and she talked to someone at the University of Texas who gave her a second opinion, a different opinion, and she exercised her personal right to make that decision about whether or not she wanted to do that. And I think it's very interesting that she doesn't want to allow us to have that freedom. And that's what he was calling her out on. That's the hypocrisy of this. He said something else that we should all remember. And of course, we've seen this quoted many times when people talk about medical tyranny. In his comments to the panel there, he quoted Dr. Benjamin Rush, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, who has warned us about medical tyranny, how it would come. He said, the Constitution of this republic, as they were trying to create the Constitution, he said, here's something we need to put into it. He said, the Constitution of this republic should make special provision for medical freedom. To restrict the art of healing to one class will constitute the Bastille of medical science. And of course, that one class is the AMA. All such laws are un-American and despotic. Unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, the time will come when medicine will organize into an undercover dictatorship and force people who wish doctors and treatments of their own choice to submit to only what the dictating outfit offers. The Constitution of the Republic should make a special provision for medical freedom as well as religious freedom. Exactly. That was a defect in the Constitution, but it was fixed in the Bill of Rights. It was fixed by Amendment number 9 that says just because we don't mention medical freedom, we are not relinquishing those rights to the government. Unless we explicitly give those rights to the government, it's what 10 says, they don't have those rights. Unless they're delegated to them by the states and by the people, the Constitution doesn't have those rights. Now they have turned that exactly upside down, saying that they have power to do anything and everything they want unless they're expressly forbidden. But even express prohibition of government activity does not stop them. That's where we stand today. We need to understand that even though the federal government, the feral bureaucracies, who are now wild, no longer think that there's any restrictions on them, they no longer have any legal authority. That's what we need to understand. We need to understand that this is not about neutrality. This is about liberty. People don't understand net neutrality, and they certainly don't understand and value liberty anymore. That's our responsibility to bring that message to the people of America. Stay with us right after the break. We have an interview. Rob Dew is going to be talking to the author of Hidden History, Donald Jeffries. It's one of the books that we sell at INFOWARS.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know the fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our